Well, what's going on, Facebook family and friends? You can tell a friend to tell a friend, share this with a friend. It's another Wellness Wednesday on this 25th day of the first month of the year 2023, and we're back in the building. You know,
Yes,
we had
sir.
some inclement weather last Wednesday. We had some inclement weather yesterday, but today
Mhm.
things are just cool, and we're back in the building because your mental health matters. My good friend Edward J. Brown, Positive Choices Counseling
Absolutely.
Service in the building, and we're gonna get into this conversation. So, my
Yes, sir.
brother, the flow is yours.
Man, what's going on, man? You been all
Man,
right?
yeah, man, it's another day. I ain't got no complaints. So,
Yeah.
hey, at my worst, somebody wish they could be me, and at my
Yeah.
best, somebody's happy they not me.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Man, which brings me to what I've been thinking about today. It's been going on for the past 2 weeks. We got Brother Reed down at Bethune-Cookman. And,
Whew.
and and I had an opportunity to watch the
The
Roland
rant?
Martin interview.
Oh, the rant. That's what I
Yeah.
call it. The rant.
you know. And so Roland Martin had the interim vice
President.
president,
Right, right.
president of Bethune-Cookman, and the brother was just the opposite of what Ed Reed was. He was as mellow, laid back. He said, "Well, the brother didn't do what he said he was going to do, so, well, just very calm." And it made me think people react differently to different stimuli.
That is very
What
true.
make
Very
get
true.
Ed Reed screaming and hooping and hollering, that brother was just as laid back and as calm. So I was thinking, what's pushing your buttons? That's
Mm,
something that I think, because we said we was gonna take this podcast in a different direction this year. We talked about some things we might try to do, but one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to come out of my clinical box and come into my behavioral box.
right.
We just gonna take this from a strictly human behavior perspective.
Okay.
What's
What's
pushing your
pushing?
buttons?
What's pushing your
Because
buttons?
everybody has that thing, that it,
Right.
that like, you know what? This is what pisses me off. Well, what pisses you off may not be a drop off my back.
Correct.
But what
Correct.
we want to talk about is, how do we respond? Is the way we respond good? Is it healthy or is it not healthy?
Well,
So we
I'm
both
glad. I'm
remember back
glad.
in,
I'm glad that you're bringing this up because
okay.
I say to people on a regular, you have no control over what
Mm-hmm.
anybody says or attempts to do in your presence, to you, to someone you know, but how you respond
It's all on
to
you.
it, it makes every bit of the difference, and you're 100% in control of your response.
Mm-hmm. So we look at Brother Reed and the way he responded to what was going on at Bethune-Cookman. And we look at the standard by which I believe he's being measured,
Mm,
which was the way Dion responded. I'm sorry, Coach Prime, the way
mm-hmm,
Coach Prime responded to certain things.
mm-hmm,
He always stayed calm. He didn't swear. He didn't yell. Periodically, he quoted scripture.
mm-hmm.
If you watch Brother, and if you even watch Ed Reed play, he ain't the same. He ain't that type of dude.
No, sir.
He's always been, he's always been that, I'm gonna knock that head off if that's what I had to do. And he'll act accordingly. Now, what I liked about this whole thing, and what I think we gotta talk about as people, is there's always, now some people have kind of changed this, but there's always two sides to every story.
Correct. Very correct.
Now, people say there's three sides: your side, my side, and the truth.
Mm,
Well, when you listen to the president of Bethune-Cookman the other day, after listening to the rant, as you call it, my brother, one of the things that I remember like, they didn't even clean my effing office. They gave me a dirty oven. You know what that brother said?
mm.
He said he wasn't supposed to be in the office yet.
Well,
He was not given the authority to do the things that he was doing.
Well,
we hadn't gotten around to cleaning his office yet because he
let,
wasn't
let,
supposed to be there yet.
let me say this from this perspective of how I see the Ed Reed Bethune Cookman situation. I believe both of them are right
Mm-hmm.
and both of them are wrong.
I agree.
I believe that Ed Reed spoke 100% truth in everything he said. However,
I
the
agree.
manner that he delivered it and the
Mm-hmm.
way he said it was not something that could uplift the situation or bring about a positive response to it in order to make that HBCU, that program, and
Better.
those athletes better. Now,
Yeah.
now watch this. They even had, if you watch Roland Martin, they even had students from Bethune Cookman,
Mm-hmm.
student athletes that verified everything that Ed Reed said was correct. How they had to share helmets, how some of the helmets was mold infested, how some of their quarters and living is mold infested.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, as I tell people, the bigger picture to me is let's talk about the deficiency in funding to these HBCUs
Absolutely.
into if we measure that by the same stick of the PWIs.
No.
I'm getting ready this weekend to work a game at Southern University, a game which is totally different than if I was at a LSU, if I was at a Southern Miss, if I was at a Mississippi State or an Ole Miss. But I'm getting ready to see a great HBCU rivalry as the Alcorn Braves make
Mm-hmm.
their way into town to take on the Southern University Jaguars. The men basketball are literally tied for first place in the
Mm-hmm.
SWAC. So, but once again, if you watch how the funding, when it comes down to a lot of things at HBCUs, we're just not at the same place that our counterparts at the PWIs. If you look at the facilities at LSU and compare those facilities at Southern, you will see a big difference. We got a good friend of mine in here that we grew up together in the great state of Tennessee. I can honestly tell you, because I went to school at Lane College, that the facilities at Lane College don't look like the facilities at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. I
I
mean,
agree.
I mean, Vanderbilt doesn't look anything like Tennessee State. And somewhere we need to address the disparities and the deficiencies between them and us.
Yeah.
Go ahead, my
Well,
brother.
has that not been the standards by which we've been given the entire time we're here? We've been playing behind the eight ball forever.
Yes, true.
I remember going to Southern, and Avery Johnson and I came from St. Aug to Southern. He went to junior college, I went, and then he came 2 years later and led the nation in assists.
Correct.
From Southern University. We've always been behind the eight ball.
Correct.
We've always put in the greatest of greatest into these particular arenas.
Correct.
If you look at the NFL, we don't have to go through this. You and I both know.
Right.
All of the specialty positions, the best players are from HBCUs.
Correct.
Now, you with the exception, let's say running back. I say, who's the best running back to ever play the game? Most people will end up saying Walter Payton. Me, I go between Sweetness and Jim Brown. Now, Jim Brown went to Syracuse.
Correct.
But Walter Payton went right there to D. Jackson State.
That's it. D I love.
That's right. And then you look at the best wide receiver who was actually voted the best football player in the history of the game when they did that list about 2 years ago. Went to Mississippi Valley State University.
D. Jerry Rice, which
Jerry Rice was voted
it.
the best football player in the history of football. So then we start talking about quarterbacks. The first African-American quarterback to win the Super Bowl.
Doug Williams from
He
D.
came
Grambling
from
State University.
So we start looking at led the league in sacks. Had the record for the most sacks in the NFL. Michael Strahan came right there from
Texas Southern.
So my thing is, we've always produced top quality athletes with being put behind the eight ball.
Come on.
As we have as Black people in this country, period. We've always had to make the most out of the least. That's why you see these lines at these soul food restaurants are lined up with not with us. We gonna get in there, but it's white folks lined up around the corner.
Well. Let's talk about this,
So,
brother Brown. Brother Brown, let's talk about this right quick when it comes down
okay.
to, and this ties in with perception and your mental health and wellness.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Prime, there is a place in Jackson, Mississippi called Johnny T's.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who goes to Jackson, Mississippi, and you are over the age of 25, you know about Johnny T's. Coach Prime brought Johnny T's to Boulder, Colorado. They are in the process right now, I've heard through sources, of negotiating bringing a Johnny T's to Boulder, Colorado, because there is so much interest in the type of food that was being made and consumed in Jackson, Mississippi. They don't have that out in Colorado. You know, it's just like I tell people, you know, I when I frequent in the DMV area, everybody would be like, man, you don't drink Starbucks coffee. I took a person to Community Coffee and they said, now I see why.
Yeah. We've always, though, had to make the most with the least.
Correct.
And we're very good at it. We're resilient people. We're creative people. We are the most imitated people on the planet. However, we still do not respond correctly to certain stimuli. We just do not do it. And we have to ask ourselves, why do we continue to make the same mistakes? Now, let me show you the difference in what I'm talking about when you get to a certain place behavior-wise.
Come on.
Every literally trashed his employer on TV, on social media.
Yeah, definitely. That
he
happened.
Literally trashed his employer. Shannon Sharp goes to the basketball game and gets into an altercation with several individuals.
Correct. In my hometown of Memphis.
Guess what? The next day, I saw an apology that if you had to write a textbook on how to apologize to people,
that was it. That was it. It was huge.
Now,
hold it. And Shannon Sharp got the most respect from me as a person who is a Memphis Grizzly fan. He got the most respect from me as a African-American man of color. He got the most respect from me from being an HBCU grad, knowing he's an HBCU grad, and from a guy who's in sports media like I am. Man, Shannon got all the respect in the world because that's how you do it. You stand up 10 toes down and say, listen, I acted inappropriately.
Okay. When Roland Martin had Ed Reed on, is that how he behaved?
Oh, no, sir.
No. Man, I had a bunch of jobs. Dion called me to Jackson State. My issue was, I understand the brother's frustration, but we have to present ourselves in a better light.
Correct.
You cannot trash agent. Now, guess what he just did? He made it extremely difficult for the next coach to go to Bethune-Cookman to recruit.
Correct.
Because I'm not coming there. Because your facilities.
He made life for Bethune-Cookman literally a living hell. That when you have to bring the head basketball coach, Reggie Theus, who is from UNLV, to say, look, hold up. And let's just say it. It takes a lot to go to a place where you don't have the grandiose resources and to go there and make that program work. That's why I give Miss Tamika Reed a hand clap and all the respect in the world, because in Jackson, Mississippi, she has those women at Jackson State. The Lady Tigers, they are tournament ready. They are championship ready. And I can definitely see them beating they almost beat LSU last year.
I agree, because the talent and our ability to do the job is never in question.
Come on.
It's never in question. But what we have to look at is there is a proper protocol. There's proper behavior. And we'll say, well, who set these systematic standards that, Well, it's not about it being a social construct, or it's not about it being systemic type, restraints. It's about being right. Show you what I'm talking about. Is it systemic guidelines when we say you don't double dip? Damn it. If we at the table and there's some chips and salsa, you don't double dip. Oh, well, who say that? Well, I say that because it's not good hygiene. So you want to debate with me? You got that because of the systemic racism in this country? Well, there is definitely systemic racism, but we cannot use that to justify behavior that does not exemplify the regal and royal people that we are. I just had more respect for that brother, and well, still do, because I still have the same amount of respect. I think he's one of the best safeties that ever played the game.
Correct.
I got that much respect with Ed Reed, but I believe he let his frustration and his inability to express that frustration hurt himself and Bethune-Cookman.
Now, let me say this. I believe, and we're going to have to address this on one of these podcasts. Once again, I believe that the use of social media as a bully box platform or a sounding board is sometimes good and sometimes bad. This is one of those situations and cases where we can honestly say that, it's just like, let's use this for a prime example, because I think this has a great deal to do with mental health. We had a president that had classified materials and we had an issue. Then he got out of office and the next party puts a president in, and it seems to be that he has issues with classified documents. So then we go from, well, you treated one way and you treat one the other. And look and behold, now we have the vice president
with some stuff.
Right. So, and the truth about the matter, as a good friend of mine said, if you be very honest, most folks who have worked a government job at that level may have had some individuals to get some paperwork and box it up, and they may have classified material. So I think it's as we go, like I told somebody in a class I had a few weeks ago, the truth is the truth until it is no longer the truth.
But the difference in the two situations is our former president refused to cooperate.
Correct.
The DOJ.
Correct. Oh, hold it. Now at the baseline, of the problem, nobody should be willy-nilly with classified material. But if you are going to be willy-nilly, at least don't try to obstruct people coming to get the paperwork that you should have never took in the first place. So there is a huge difference. But what I'm trying to say is just like we were saying in one of our other prior podcasts, this is where we have to start guarding our gates. You got to guard your eye gates. You got to guard your ear gates. You got to watch what comes out your mouth, and you got to watch who you allow speak into your life, because at the end of the day, you need folks who can give you options and choices that once you sit down and begin to think about what option or choice is best for you, you choose what's best for you to make your life better. Because what might be good for Edward might not be good for Joe.
Correct. We have to get to the point where we start to look at what type of energy we allow into our lives. We have to be okay with self-care. We have to have self-responsibility. If you're disrespecting me and I tell you disrespecting me, and your response is, I ain't worried about that, I'm going to reevaluate our relationship. And the fact that you may not like it doesn't really matter to me. I tried to establish, I don't like this, you're disrespecting me. Oh, well, forget you. Okay. That pretty much wraps us being able to associate with one another. And it's okay that I take self-care. And too often we feel guilty when I look at Brother Reed right now, and that situation in less than 2 weeks, stressed him out. I mean, enormously. I mean, he was.
Oh yeah. Oh
He
yeah.
was on the edge.
You
And he
saw
had
how
coached
I
one
don't know
game.
was that his attorney or his spokesperson, but
Right.
throughout that interview, he had to a
Yeah.
couple of times, my brother, calm,
Calm
let
down.
me,
Calm down. Correct.
let me. That's what you brought me in here for. You just
Correct.
sit here and let me explain what's going on. Because he was like, I mean, they are playing over and over again when he was like, uh, man, I talked Prime called me. JSU.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
I'm like,
Exactly.
whoa.
I turned down the Jackson State job. I turned
Right.
down the Grambling job. Right. Yeah.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, and he
I
didn't
just
say it in
think
a
that was kind of what. Oh, go
and
ahead.
he didn't say it in a calm way. He was
No.
you could tell he was
He's
in.
what pushes your buttons. His buttons was pushed.
Come on.
His buttons was pushed. But so was Shannon's buttons. But Shannon was able to regather himself and say, you know what? I owe several people an apology.
Right. And sometimes it won't come until the day after. It might not be the day of. When you're in the heat of battle, you may not at that moment. But after, we're gonna break away and do another podcast saying after further review.
Exactly. So, ask yourself, are you able to communicate? And this is the meat of this podcast. Are you able to communicate effectively and appropriately when your buttons are pushed? That right there is major in regards to us being able to have solid and quality states of mind and mental health.
Because in life, your buttons will be pushed.
Sometimes on a daily basis. On a daily basis sometimes. I remember just recently, I was in line at the supermarket, and the lady in front of me was going off on this young lady who was just trying to do her job. She said, ma'am, I don't know. The man kept asking her, well, can I use this coupon and that coupon and these two coupons? She said, I don't know. Well, why are you here if you don't know? And the young lady just kind of, you could see she was getting frazzled and she started to shake. And I said, excuse me, ladies. I said, excuse me. I said, if you don't know, is there someone you can go and get that may know? And the young lady looked at me and she said, I was getting ready to say that, but she yelled at me. Well, go ahead on and get whoever you got to get. And when she came back with the manager, you know what? I stood back and I wish I could have, because everything is videotaped these days. You know what the manager did?
What?
The manager matched her energy. He was just as ugly and just as rude. You ain't going to be yelling at me because you can get out of here. You can leave all this stuff right here and I'll have somebody to put it up and you can get out of here. And I was like, ooh, okay. But instead, you know what she did? She calmed down. It was an amazing situation to watch unfold. When the young lady wasn't talking back to her, she was just barking loud. But when the manager came and he was barking just as loud, she calmed down. And still didn't get to use her coupons, by the way. So I think at the end of the day, I'm going to challenge us today in this podcast right here to say, what do we do, especially as Black people, when our buttons are pushed?
Come on.
Because I'm going to give you a scenario that I know pushes my buttons. I believe if the rules say A, B, C, if that's the rules should be A, B, C for everybody.
Correct.
And when they're not, that is what bothers me. It pushes my buttons.
Fair treatment for all.
Fair treat, and I understand fair ain't always equal. That came from one of my colleagues.
Right. Hold it. Now hold it. You're gonna have to say that again for the people in the back who didn't catch it. We said
Yeah,
fair
ain't
treatment
equal.
for all. Right.
Fair ain't equal. And when she used to say that, I used to say, Doc, that's profound. You know, Dr. Trina Bell, one of my colleagues at Alcorn, she used to always say, fair ain't equal though. We're gonna be fair, but fair his and so she said, Mr. Brown, you the king of analogies. What analogy would you apply to fair ain't equal? Here's fair ain't equal. We having a barbecue.
Mm.
I'm bringing ribs.
Mm.
You bringing sausage and chicken.
Mm.
Joe bringing plates and forks.
Mm.
Barbecue over. Is chicken ribs left over? Joe can't take all of the ribs.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? And since you brought the ribs, if you decide you want to take more, that's fair.
Right. Come on.
That's what you brought. You brought the ribs. If
Right.
you decide I don't want no ribs, do what y'all want with them, then that changes the fair ain't equal situation.
Come on. Come on.
But people believe because you brought something that we're all equal. That's not, no, it's not.
Oh no, oh no, oh no. See,
We're not.
see, I'm glad you brought that up because many a times that conversation comes into relationships
Correct.
where folks try to talk about this is what I brought to the table. Well, wait a minute. There can't be a percentage being brought to a table in a relationship. I tell people relationships is like your body. You can't say, I don't want my right arm to do something because my left arm is like this. No, everything works in conjunction with each other. So, you know, a lot of times that's the problem. I brought this to the table. Well, no. The table is no longer your table, my table. It's our table.
And especially if we're progressing forward for the betterment of both.
Come on.
If we're moving forward and we're both progressing, you know, so you have oars and and there's a hole in the boat.
Okay, come on.
You know what I mean? So now the boat is sinking.
Mm.
And you like, well, you gonna row? I'm like, well, it's your oars.
Mm.
And you're like, well, what is that you have right? This some putty. You gonna take that putty and put it in the hole so we don't sink? That's your boat.
Right.
So you willing to sink instead of put the putty in the hole that's gonna benefit us both. And too often we have that outlook, and you know, as individuals.
Hey, I say it all the time. Many folks who are on a good boat headed toward a good destination will sabotage and allow that boat to sink just because they're not the captain.
That's right. That's right. You know, look, either I get to guide us where we going, or else I'm not rowing. I'm gonna sit back here and let y'all row because I want to be the captain. You know, I used to tell the kids all the time, I said, you want to play quarterback because it's your football, but you ain't got no arms. So how you gonna play quarterback? It's my football, but you can't throw the ball.
Right.
You have no arms. So we have to get to the point now where know thyself is going to be our mantra. Know thyself. Know what's pushing your buttons and know how to respond. Now, in relationships, and you brought it up, brother. You know, you said, well, what you bringing to the table. I listen to a lot of colleagues and I listen to a lot of people's podcasts and read their books. We have a really distorted perspective on what it means when you say, what are you bringing to the table?
Very much so. Very much
we really
so.
do.
Oh, hold it. I hate to get there, and I hate to be this way when I say it. And that's why I went to the close-up mode. Sadly, some folks believe that intimacy, sex or whatever, that earns you a place to say, you buy this, you do that, you do that, you do that. Well, what you bring to the table? I'm bringing this. I'm bringing
me.
This.
I'm bringing me.
I'm bringing
What
this.
Do you mean me?
Right. I'm bringing, you know, and I hate to say it, that happens a great deal with women. Women will say, oh, they say, no honey, no money, no honey.
No honey.
Well, wait a minute. Well, wait a minute. Last time I checked, they said the oldest profession The oldest. Now look, some people gonna get mad and maybe comment on this and say, "What are you saying?" I don't care if it's men or women, because I know some men that act that way. But at the end of the day, the oldest profession is prostitution, and that is literally selling sex. Yes. And a lot of you, that is literally what you're doing. I actually know somebody who posted that on OnlyFans alone in the last year, they made over $1 million.
I believe it.
I'm just saying.
You can nickel and dime your way to $1 million, and if it's $5, $2, whatever it costs to do it, if you getting paid. My thing is, we have to, and this is probably in an indirect way one of the best shows we've done so far this year, because when you sit there and start saying, what am I bringing to the table? If your answer to what you're bringing to the table is me, I gotta say, you gotta elaborate a little more on that.
Right, come on.
And if you believe that because as a woman you bring sex to the table, the man bringing sex too.
So hold on.
I got some issues for the brothers too.
Hold on. Here's what I always ask people: if that's your trump card, and I take that off the table, what else you got left? See, that's the question. Okay, if you tell me as well, oh boy, I'll put this thing on you and make you boy. Okay, let's take that. Let's take that off the table. Because guess what? Last time I checked, that can't happen 24/7, 365. So let's take that off the table. Let's take that off the table on your side and my side. What you're bringing? What you're bringing?
And if that's all, that's really sad.
Right, because a lot of folks' philosophy is what yours is mine and what mine is mine.
Exactly.
Right. So when you're in a relationship with a person like that, it's very, and we really need to start talking about this, because I know it's uncomfortable. I got a few holy rollers on here. Shout out my Honda, shit, all that. Okay, great. Okay, listen. More folks are screwing in the church than anywhere else. So let's call a spade a spade. You can get mad at me all you want to. This is 2023, and I'm gonna be me. So hold up. The problem is, we got to start talking about these real things. There are people who are literally messing over our youth. There are people, and this sex thing is big. Sex and money is big, and it causes a lot of mental anguish, and we're going to have to start addressing it.
And here's the thing, so that I see it from multiple perspectives. We have brothers who believe because I'm the breadwinner, I should be making all of these decisions.
Right.
But you're not mature cognitively enough to make decisions that's adequately advances this family.
Correct.
I got brothers that ain't no way in the hell I'm gonna date a woman that make more money than me. Because we sit there and we start talking about what you bring to the table. Well, I'm bringing me to the table. Okay, and if that means sex, that's okay. We need a little more. Same way with you, brother. You paying all the bills, so now you tell a woman when she can eat, when she can't eat, who she can talk to, who she can't talk to.
That ain't two wrongs don't make a right.
So we're sitting here and we're not making this a a gender thing. We're making it a behavior thing, a mental health thing.
Because it's real talk.
We have people who think whack. They think really dysfunctional when it comes to how to express their feelings. And when we have these type of podcasts, the time zoom by. It's like it speeds up double, because we're talking about things that they wanted. They wanted to be more lively. They wanted to be more applicable. Right. Here we are. We're talking about something that as a man, as a woman, you have to stand in the mirror and say, I got to do better.
Right. Hold it. And Edward, my brother, I just thought about something. One of the things that I have to say, especially in these type of situations, and I know some people going to go back, and I'm already probably getting ready to get my inbox in with this, but some of us are so attuned to dysfunctionality that we don't know how to function when things are functional. We just had a homicide happen a few days ago where a young man killed his estranged, I think it's his ex-wife or whatever. So what is it? That's why I tell folks, listen, this is serious. Besides suicide and homicide, it's serious, because
Yes.
you have to ask yourself sometimes, were you this angry and jealous of this woman that the point is you couldn't you literally said, if I can't have her, you
Nobody.
can't either. You
Yeah.
really went into the Slick Rick children's story rhyme and said, really, if I can't have her, you can't either, to the
Mhm.
point that I'm gonna kill her to make sure ain't nobody else gonna have her.
So you've ruined multiple people's lives,
Come
from
on.
children to
Right on.
families to your own, because you in jail for the rest of your life now.
Correct.
So because of your inability to communicate on an appropriate level,
Mm.
I mean, so we're sitting here, and even with that, brothers, we got to do better. Sisters, we got to do better. This man is not weak because he cares about your every need and your every want. So instead of treating him like, a king, he weak.
Right.
I'm gonna be with a real man now. So a real man is the one that slapped the hell out of you.
Come on.
A real man is the one that does and treats you like a child.
Come on.
Because the one that treated you like an equal, he was weak.
Right.
You understand? Right. So at some point, we have to stand and look in the mirror. A man is a man no matter what. We just come in all different shapes, sizes, and colors, just like women.
Come on. Come on.
That woman that caters to your every need or that loves you unconditionally is not weak and not to be messed over. She loves you.
And we
But
got
too
to
often
stop.
we don't want to talk about it because we have to look at the man in the mirror and say, well, yeah, I had 2 or 3 dudes that just adored me, and I don't know, it was just something. But the man that don't look at you twice, you run behind him for years.
Right, right.
The woman that treats you like a king, you mess over her, with somebody that don't think twice about you.
Come on. And we've got to get to a place, family, in my humble opinion, that another thing, we got to stop measuring how much somebody cares about us by the materialistic things that they give us or the things they do for us that has to do with money and possessions. Let me tell you something. I understand. I like nice things. I want nice things. But just because you get me nice things doesn't mean you love me. And we've got to really,
I owe you.
Right. Hold it. And we've got to start communicating this, not only to make our mental health and our relationships more healthier. You do understand that the one person that's watching you the most is your children.
Yeah.
Come on. And we talk about these. See, here's the thing. You talk about generational curses, and I've got a pastor on here, a good friend of mine, James Vincent. He's on the feed right now. We talk about generational curses, but let me ask you this. If you the one that's doing the cursing, then how do we handle that? If you the hold it. If you the problem, and guess what? You might go to church every Sunday and still be. You might go to church every Sunday, every Wednesday, and serve on many boards and still be as wrong as 2 left shoes.
And my brother, my friend, one of my best friends, is also my pastor. And that brother said, church folks are the worst folks. And I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah. He said our church folks are the worst folks. So at some point throughout this year, 2023, I'm going to challenge everyone that watches this podcast to, if by halfway through the year, you're not a better person, then you shortchanging yourself.
Come on. That's the part. That's the part
you
right there.
Shortchanging yourself.
That's the part.
Everybody that's able should be striving to do what we call being self-actualized, which means I'm going to be a better me today than I was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And if that means sometimes you got to walk away from certain people and things, then you're going to have to do that. Brother Duper, you know my struggle with sweets, with sugar.
Come on.
I have to admit, since the beginning of this month,
come on.
And I'm not going to sit here and blow my own horn, but I'm just going to be honest. Since I have been this year, January, I have not missed a day at the gym. I have not had a cookie. I have not had a donut, ice cream, none of this. And again, it's a struggle. But I can look in the mirror and say, it's not little Debbie's fault that she make those things.
Right.
Because I could easily blame, well, if they didn't sell a goddamn donuts, I wouldn't eat them.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hold myself accountable.
Start
get
with
my butt up in the mirror in the morning, and I go to the gym every morning at 7:30 because there was too many excuses in the evening. In the evening, it was this excuse, that excuse, that. Now, it's no excuse. In the morning, I'm in the gym for 7:30.
Come on.
So what I'm trying to get everyone to understand is you ain't in no race with nobody but yourself.
That's it. You
are
ain't
the
in competition with your own ship. That's right. You the captain of your own ship.
You know, and I stopped saying, well, I got to go because I want to be in shape for this. No, I want to be in shape for me.
Right.
And I want to be better for me. So when I talk about what pushes my buttons, I didn't say, well, because there's a old part of the cycle of abuse where the batterer will always say, well, if you didn't make me mad, I wouldn't abuse you. No. That's like me blaming Nestle for Chip Ahoy's.
Come on.
You know, or Crispy for the cream. You know, so it's not anyone's fault but mine. So when we're looking at this podcast and we're looking at the information we're disseminating, I'm challenging everybody. Be a better you.
Look, I want to bless some folks with some things that was brought to my attention in one of the classes that I teach. Of course, my good friend, Dr. Brown, is a professor at the Alcorn State University. But a class that I teach, I had to remind people this. Understand this. Alcohol has been legal since Prohibition. However, if a legal substance have you behaving in an illegal way, you are responsible for your actions and your consumptions of that legal substance that can have you acting in an illegal manner. You know, somebody brought that up to me about weed. They were like, well, when they make weed legal, I said, yeah, but alcohol legal. But can you still get a DWI if you drink too much alcohol? Can you not be held responsible that if you drink too much alcohol and you commit some other crime, that even though you were dealing with a substance that was legal, you used it to a point that was past the legal limit, which made it illegal?
But they've already laid down the ground rules. You cannot get high and do certain things.
Come on.
Even when they legalize it, they ain't gonna say you can smoke weed and get high and drive.
Right. Hold it. Some
prescription can't go to work.
Watch this. Some prescription medicines say that. It says it on the bottle. It says, if you take this, do not operate a vehicle or heavy equipment.
Brother Dupree, alcohol is legal. You can't drink on the job.
Come on.
So people, you know, I'm laughing at people like, yeah, when they legalize weed, boy, it's gonna be off the chain. No, it's not. It's not gonna be any different than alcohol. You can't get high on the job.
Come on.
You can't drive while you high.
Right.
You can't, you know, it's gonna be the same standards as what's with alcohol. I mean, yeah, with alcohol. Correct. And I don't understand how we don't see that. You don't want your doctor coming in to operate on you high.
Right. Hold it. And
because it's legal.
And watch this. And it all ties into what we first were talking about. These are things that you have to know. These are the triggers. You know, I tell folks, don't get engaged in a conversation where you are. Sometimes it's best not to say anything. Sometimes I said these days and times, let me show you what has happened in the last week. Let's just think about the last 7 days. We've had two mass shootings in California.
Correct.
We've had a mass shooting in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at a nightclub.
Correct.
We've had numerous homicides that have occurred in probably everybody's community who's watching this podcast. We have had numerous suicides or attempted suicides, or individuals who have went through some things that maybe you and I know absolutely nothing about. Listen, family, this world gonna keep on turning and issues are gonna keep on happening. The question is, when are you gonna do what Brother Brown said when he took the horses by the reins?
That's right.
And said, I am responsible for the
me.
outcome of this, not for anyone else, but for myself.
Absolutely. And with too often, I saw something on social media last week or whatever. It says it's time to stop blaming your family,
right,
for the behavior that you have as an adult.
Come on.
And I understand that, but there's some type of behaviors that transcend age and things like that. However, we have to start excuse me. We have to start taking responsibility for self.
Right.
Because too often we look to place blame where there's no need to place blame.
Correct.
I look at individuals right now and we are okay with treating people bad. And then your justification is, well, you shouldn't push my buttons. Oh, okay. So pushing your buttons gives you the justification. Now, keep in mind, I'm still a work in progress myself.
Come on. We all are.
My buttons still get pushed.
Come on.
But it is my goal to work harder at being the best me I can be. And right now, we have our young people coming up and they're saying things like, well, I cursed my teacher out because they got to respect me if they want to get respect. And okay, there's certain positions in life that's not equal in the standards.
Come on. Come on.
Well, fair ain't equal.
Come on.
Yes. You cannot be disrespectful to your teacher. Is it fair? It's up to you to decide. But my thing is, we knew and we held teachers and certain individuals in positions of authority.
Correct.
And that position granted them your respect. Well, but we got third graders and fourth graders telling the teacher, shut up talking to me. You can't talk to me. And my thing is, we have to hold somebody responsible for that.
You got 6-year-olds talking about what has occurred in about the last 7 days. It might have been more than 7 days. Teacher. We got 6-year-olds who bring guns to school, first grade. Now, 6-year-old is first grade. First graders who bring guns to school and shoot the teacher. So, and the thing is, and a lot of people, and I've been in media many a years. I ain't new to this, and I'm thankful that we have all these platforms out there. And I want to. And the reason I said I wasn't new to this was where folks won't say, "Well, you sound like so and so." Well, okay, whatever. There's a lot of cliche sayings out there. One of them is a lot of times we use these two words entirely too loosely. That's accountability and responsibility. And guess what?
Absolutely.
We're going to have to start being responsible. And we're going to have to start being accountable. And we're going to have to start understanding that for everything we say and do, there is consequences. There are consequences, cause and effect. I just finished saying not too very long ago on social media. When you learn to accept some things instead of expect some things, then you won't have to deal with major disappointment. Sometimes you got to understand everybody's not on your level. Ooh. And you're not on. Hold it. Now, whoa. And now let me.
You gotta say that again, right?
Wait a minute.
You gotta say that for the people
I'm about to give them a double punch. Everybody ain't on your level, and you ain't on everybody else's level. For example, there's some folks who ain't even close to my level, but there's some folks out there I can't.
You ain't on their level either.
I ain't nowhere close. I ain't nowhere close. I can't sit in a room with a bunch of Einsteins. I'm gonna be in there quiet as a church mouse, because I don't want them to know I'm slow compared to them. See, so stop always trying to be we got a big problem that folk want to be the biggest person in the room. Guess what? Guess what? You're not always gonna be the biggest person in the room. And sometimes it's good not to be the biggest person in the room. And see, we've got to get to the point that we are not scared to share information with one another to help each other grow and get bigger. See, people, I say this all the time. A lot of folks, especially folk of color, they want you to do good. They just don't want you to do better than them.
That's right.
And that's sad.
And that bothers me. And we talking about the things that we're gonna do better, and we talking about buttons being pushed. You know what's one of the things that's always been an issue for me as well? We have a tendency to glamorize mediocrity.
Come on. Come on.
You know, if you a good kid and you a smart kid in class, you get ridiculed. You
Right.
get picked on. Now I'm ratchet. You see, I'm ratchet. That's a positive thing, and you
Right.
bragging about that?
Right. Right.
Stop bragging about. See, because I'm hood, I'm ghetto. You know what? And you bragging about that? Oh, you
Right.
know, you so bougie. Why you? What makes that person bougie?
Right.
Because they have high standards.
Or they speak the King's English.
Or we speak correct English. My
Okay.
thing is, we have a tendency to want to ridicule people, but yet we want to uplift mediocrity.
Come on.
We have to stop doing that.
Mm.
We have to stop uplifting, bad. Bad is good and good is bad.
Mm.
You're going to sit here and call a woman bougie because she's attained a certain level or status in her life. She's not throwing that at you. That's the way you're perceiving it.
Mm.
Because she likes a particular thing or a particular man. He likes to dress nice. Oh, he think he better than everybody. What does that mean? Why? Because he likes to dress nice? No, the difference is he makes the money to afford the lifestyle here, hopefully, and that he ain't living a facade. We hope that. But, he makes the money to live the lifestyle he wants to live. But we also have to prioritize. So we got a lot of work to do this year, brother. We can't have women walking around with $4,000 Louis Vuitton purses, but they don't have $4,000 in the bank.
Come on. Now hold it. And that's with people, period. Not only women. We can't have brothers head to toe Gucci, Louis, Balenciaga, all this. Hold it. Pushing Benz and Beamers and parking them in front of trailer homes.
There you go. So I think we have to prioritize in order, to determine what is appropriate for an individual. Now, they say, well, if I want to spend my $4,000 on a purse, then I should be able to. But here's the things. What happens if a crisis arises?
Mm.
Let's say all of a sudden you need $300. Do you have it? You know what I mean? I agree. You can spend your $4,000 on whatever you want, but won't you spend $1,000 on the purse and put the other $3,000 in the bank?
And make it work for you.
And make it work. I said, but again, these are my standards. I'm making me a better me. We challenging everybody else to do the same thing.
And so, brother,
we're not pointing a finger at nobody. We're not saying we're better. We're saying there's other options and other things that we should focus and look at.
And we want to make this crystal clear. It's nothing wrong with having nice things.
Not at all.
I happen to love nice things.
I got tons of nice things.
But at the end of the day, no matter what you have, even my spiritual folks on here who are students of the scriptures, somewhere in that word it says, before you do a thing, you need to weigh the cost of it. You need to weigh the cost of it. See, many a time we jump out and do things, purchase things, make moves on things, and we never weigh the cost. And then when the costs catch up to us, we want a miracle. Then we want, hold it. Half of us ain't talked about the Lord, saw the Lord. The only time we see the Lord is, and watch this. You only gonna get out of a thing what you put in a thing. My daddy taught me that the hard way when I was a young man. He gave me an acre of land and told me, do with that land what you will. And I said, okay, Dad done gave me an acre of land. Christmas came around and I didn't have no presents underneath the tree. I said, man, what's going on here? My dad said, come on with me. Let's take a ride. We rode to that acre of land. He told me, what you see to the left of the land? I said, corn that you planted. He said, what you see to the right of the land? I said, soybeans that you planted. He said, what's on the land? I said, nothing. He said, son, let me teach you something. If that land you had to deal with that land right there had to provide for your family. What your family got right now? I said, nothing. And guess what? When I told him that, he said, I thought you were smart, but you really not as smart as you are. You book smart, but you ain't common sense smart. He said, at the bare minimum, if you knew you wasn't going to do nothing with that land, you could have came to me long before this date. and told me, Daddy, I ain't gonna do nothing with it. Why don't you buy it from me?
Right.
Because he said, guess what? They ain't making no more of
land.
I said, Dad. He said, I might have a 9th grade education, but he said, I'm smarter than you on this one. And guess what I realized? Once again, a lot of times, no offense, I know we got some highly educated folks that watch this thing, but there's a difference between being smart and being educated.
Exactly.
Y'all will catch that on the next podcast.
Hey, listen, it's truth. There's truth in wisdom, baby. There's truth in wisdom. We are here, and we've made this commitment to lively up this podcast in 2023, to make and hit you fast and hard with a lot of information. We're at the point right now where we are at the end of the first month already of the new year.
Right.
The first month of the new year is gone. What have you done to make you a better you? What have you done to impact the community in which you live? What have you done to make your mark on the world a positive one? Now, I'm just asking you, because you ain't got to answer me. You got to look in the mirror and answer that for yourself. We have decided to do this podcast, and we've committed to it, and we're doing it. But right now, we can put the best information in the world out. If you don't use it, we wasting our time. We're wasting our time. So I'm not any longer going to pull any punches. We're not going. Next week, when we get together, Brother Dupree,
yes, sir.
I expect to have at least 25 Alcorn State University students on here.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, we're going to have at least 25 Alcorn State University students on this podcast next week, because we're going to talk about things that they need to hear.
Right.
They're going to talk. We're talking about things that they need to incorporate in their makeup in order to be those individuals they want to be.
Right. The clinicians, because in the real world, like I tell people, in the real world, it's a big difference than what goes down in the classroom.
Ooh,
in the real world.
When we sit there and look at them, once you get in the real world, you're going to wish you could stay in the classroom the rest of your life.
Oh, yes. Because guess what?
You know,
Because what you come to find out is life is happening. And it happens a lot faster than you think it happens. It happens sometimes at some of the most unexpected times. I give a prime example. Sunday, I got a phone call about a homicide. I just got back from church. That's the last phone call I thought I was going to have. I've been known to get those calls at 2, 3 in the morning. You know, I've been known to get those calls. Life happens, and life doesn't happen when you want it to happen. So what can we do to begin to uplift one another, build one another up, and be there for one another, that we can wrap our arms around one another in brother and sisterly love, to see each one of us be better and do better. Listen, there has been mass shootings. There have been crazy mass shootings. I think I heard today, in the first month of this year, I think there's been over 40 mass shootings, and I don't forgot the actual number of individuals who have been killed. Come on, family. 40 mass shootings? It's not even February.
I'm not saying. We talk about in New Orleans, there's been 15 carjackings just in the month of January.
Come on.
And this is before the 15th of the month.
So since this is my time and it's our podcast, we're going to stay on a little bit longer, because I got a few things we do need to talk about to end this on a smiley, funny tip. Are we going to have an all-white Super Bowl? Is it going to be pretty good against the Burrow man? Are we going to have an all-black Super Bowl where it's going to be the Qs? The Qs already been barking. I hear them barking because they're all behind the Eagles. All of a sudden, every Q I know is an Eagle fan. Or is it going to be, I'm just saying, every Q I know is an Eagle fan all of a sudden. But is it going to be? I don't believe it's going to be a mixed match Super Bowl. I believe it's going. Now, this is just my humble opinion. I believe it's either going to be Burrow against Purdy, or it's going to be Hurts against Mahomes. Why
Well,
do you think?
here's my all my football knowledge. If the 49ers play the Eagles the way they played the Cowboys, the Eagles gonna beat the brakes off of them.
Oh,
They gotta play better than they played against the Cowboys. Their
okay.
defense is going to get the brakes beat off if they don't play. So I'm gonna go on the record and I'm gonna say I think the Eagles are gonna just squeak out a little bit over the 49ers.
49ers. Okay.
You
Eagles
know.
over 49ers. Okay.
All right. Now on the other side,
Kansas
as
City
much as
and
I hate it, I'm gonna go with Cincinnati for one reason and one reason only.
I think it's the same
Cincinnati's
reason I'm going.
defense, Cincinnati's defense is the truth.
Yeah, they
And a
and
half and a half of Mahomes
come on.
ain't gonna it don't look
Right.
good
I,
against
I think I think
Cincinnati defense.
Mahomes, I think personally, Patrick Mahomes is hurt worse than they
Yeah,
letting us know.
I
I
agree.
really do.
I
I
agree.
really do.
I
I
agree.
really do.
And
So
and if Cincinnati's defense wasn't as good as they are, I'm going Eagle. I mean, I'm going Kansas City. But I think Pat Mahomes would have to be at his best to beat the Cincinnati, and I don't think he is.
okay.
So my
Well,
prediction's gonna be Burrow against the Eagles. I would like it to be Kansas City against the Eagles. So
right.
I like the 49ers too, though.
Hey, now if
You know,
Burrow
I
makes it
don't like
against
what
the
they did
Eagles,
Kaepernick. So I ain't never got over that. I never
so
got
wait a
over
minute.
that. So
If Burrow and the Eagles make it, who you think gonna come out on the top of that one?
ooh, I like the
That's gonna
Eagles.
be that's gonna be a fight
That's gonna be
though.
a good game. Yeah,
That's gonna be
yeah.
a fight.
If Cincinnati and the Eagles make it, that's gonna be a good game
That's gonna be a fight.
because Joe Burrow is a good quarterback.
Oh,
I
off the
don't think
out.
he's on Pat Mahomes level, but they put superstars around him. His wide receiving is look like a Pro Bowl. They look like
Oh
the
yeah.
Pro Bowl, and
Hey,
I just don't
he
think
looked like
that
Terry Bradshaw. He looked like Terry
if
Bradshaw with
you
Starworth and with Lynn Swan.
Lynn Swan, exactly. So
Right.
I like that, and then Mixon is running the ball good too. So yeah, I think that if Pat Mahomes can some kind of way be 75-80% himself, they'll be okay. But if he can't scramble and he can't run and do all them amazing things, Cincinnati gonna pull it out.
Okay. On that tip, family, as you see on the screen right now, positive choices counseling service.org. Why do I put that up there? Because yes, whoever's telling a friend to telling a friend who's sharing this with a friend, you yourself may need someone to speak to if you're in a mental health crisis. You may need somebody to go to for counseling services. You may need some of the services that are provided. So, what I infer you to do is go to this website and check out positivechoicescounseling.org. They do telehealth, they do all kind of stuff. Go there, find out if you need help because we all at times need someone to talk to. And once again, I give this statistic all the time during these podcasts. Suicide amongst people of color is at an all-time high. And all I can say after I say that
Homicide.
is period. Homicide is at an all-time high amongst folk of color. Listen up, family. And all these mass shootings and killing, it's a toll on your mental health. It makes it where
Absolutely.
some people are nervous just to leave out the house, just to go up the street. So
Absolutely.
listen, we want to help you because, as we always say, your mental health matters. With that being said, I'm going to let my brother close us out. Brother, the floor is yours.
You know what we always say? Our goal is for you to be a better you. Anything we can do on this end to help, we're willing to do it. And hey, if nobody else told you today, we love you. See you next week. Peace.